Hi guys, so I'm sorry for the lighting and the kind of the whole general appearance of the video. I'm sorry. I know it's not the best quality. I know I don't look great and I know the lighting is really bad, but we'll get it sorted soon, promise. So today I was thinking, what kind of video can I do? I wasn't really sure, and I was going to do a video kind of on my English literature texts that I'm studying at the moment. And I thought, hang on a sec, I'm going to do a video on books that I was made to read at school, whether it's been college or secondary school, and what have actually presently surprised me. So I'm going to do it in order of when I was, like, when I had to read them, so kind of like secondary school to college. So in secondary school in year 9, I was made to read Private Peaceful by Michael Morpurgo. And I think we were made to read it because it gave us kind of the basic understanding of how to write analytically about books, and kind of gave us the basic understanding and that kind of jazz for the book, which I like how to write about books, which we have to do for our coursework. So it's a book about the First World War, and it's about a young boy called Thomas Peaceful who looks back over his childhood from the battlefields of the First World War. His memories are full of family life deep in the countryside. But the clock is ticking, and every moment Thomas spends remembering how things used to be means another moment closer to something which will change his life forever. So it's really sweet. It's set kind of like the chapters, but they're times. So it says 10:05, and then the next chapter is 20 to 11. So times kind of, we see the period of time kind of go, and there will be like a little paragraph in the present day, and then he'll look back on a memory. And it's like divided by two butterflies, which is kind of like the whole. I haven't read this book in forever, so I don't know I can't remember what the butterflies signify, but I want to read it again. I haven't actually read this copy. I asked for it after we'd had to read it, and I was like, wow, that book is amazing. I want to own it. I have a thing about owning books that I like, but I definitely want to read this again, and it was a great book. And I'm not going to give away too many details, but if you're really into kind of wartime and kind of books that look back on kind of memories, I think even if you're not into like the First World War, I think if you like books that kind of are very much so in the past and they're kind of someone looking back on their memories, I think you'd like this book. And it's written by Michael Morpurgo. I think it's a teen book, so there is some things in here that obviously wouldn't be able to be put in a children's book. So yeah, really good read, and I'm really pleased that my teacher in year 9 made me read that. So a book I had to study for my GCSEs was Lord of the Flies, and I remember like back in the day when we were doing this, everyone had like a different copy, and it was so annoying because the teacher had this copy and she'd say, like, go to page so and so. So I'd be there. Oh look, there's annotations here. Panic, breakdown, and we'd I'd all be there and we'd be waiting for everyone else to get to the same page, and it was so annoying. But anyway, this is basically set in the 50s, and there is a atomic war has broken out, and they basically evacuated loads of children away from England, and a plane crashes on a desert island, and the only survivors are a group of schoolboys, and they assemble on the beach and they wait to be rescued. By day they inhabit a land of bright fantastic birds and dark blue seas, but at night their dreams are haunted by the image of a terrifying beast. As the boys' delicate sense of order fades, so their childish dreams are transformed into something more primitive, and their behaviour starts to take on a murderous, savage significance. I really enjoyed this, and I know loads of people. I remember the boy who I sat next to hated it, and I really enjoyed it. I really liked the concept of being stranded on a desert island, um, and I really enjoyed reading the story. It's really interesting how psychologically and socially things happen in the book as well. Sorry, I've got plays in my brain. I'm studying like plays at the moment in English. Amazing how sociology and psychology affects it, and how these little boys, turn into kind of like savages, and they turn so nasty and horrible, and it really is brought to light. Like when you're reading it, you forget how young they are. But we watched a 60s film version of the play, of the book, sorry. We watched a film version of it because it's good to write in your answers sometimes, like a certain interpretation, like, you know, someone interpreted it that way, but I interpret it this way. It's quite a good thing to do. And watching the film just kind of hits home how young the boys are, and it makes you remember how young and little these little boys are. And they're just like 12 years old, and they're doing things that a 12-year-old should never have to do, like hunting, and it's a really good book, I think. So in my first term of, and this is such a battered up copy of college, I had to read The Great Gatsby, and I will be answering an exam question on The Great Gatsby in my exams that I have in the summer. So yeah, basically in the summer I will be answering an exam question. I think actually I don't know if I wrote an essay on this, or whether I think this was part of the exam actually, so it's the same kind of thing. You have to revise the whole book, everything in the book, and then answer a question on it in the exam. This book is like falling to pieces. I've written all over it. I bet you won't be able to find a page. You probably can't see my writing very well, but like I've written like all over this copy. It's battered, and we were actually told that we had to buy two. Now these are really inexpensive. This was like £1.99 to buy two, because if we're going to write in our books, like a lot of us wanted to do, we actually have to supply our own ones for our exams. So I had to buy two. I actually had to buy two copies, and my clean, nice copy is on my bookshelf, and this is in my kind of like college stack. It's The Great Gatsby is a consummate summary of the roaring 20s and the devastating expose of the Jazz Age. Through the narration of Nick Carraway, the reader is taken into the superficially glittering world of the mansions which line the Long Island shore of the American seaboard in the 1920s, to encounter Nick's cousin Daisy, Jay Gatsby, and the dark mystery which surrounds him. The Great Gatsby is an undisputed classic of American literature from the period following the First World War, and is one of the great novels of the 20th century. I really like this. I really like that it's from Nick Carraway's perspective, and he narrates it, and it's written as if he again is recalling things that happened. So he's sitting down, and we don't know when he's sitting down, and he's supposed to be the writer as well and writing this, but we know that he's looking back at it, and because it starts in my younger and more vulnerable years, and it talks all about that. It's hard to explain, but if you read it, you understand, and I really like it. I found this really easy to read. I always remember my teacher saying, "Oh yeah, he dies in the end," and all the class literally completely like, "Oh, he dies," and we were supposed to have read the whole novel already, and they didn't know, and they were all like, "You ruined the story," and my teacher was like, "It's why he died, and it's how he got there that matters," which I think is really interesting. And I've seen a couple of film versions of this, and I really like the one with the guy who plays Phoebe's Mike. Is his name Mike in Friends? Phoebe's boyfriend. He plays Nick Carraway, which is a really interesting interpretation. I like this book. I like the era. I think it's a very shallow, very flawed era, but it's a really, I think, quite an interesting era to look at. I'm very into history, so this kind of is a plus for me. I like this. And then the third one and the final one, which I'm currently studying now, is Hedda Gabler. Now, this isn't actually a book. This isn't a novel. This is a play written by Henrik Ibsen, who's Norwegian, and so this play is actually a translation into English, so it's not exact what Henrik Ibsen wrote, but it's the main gist. And basically it's about a woman called Hedda Tesman, who was Hedda Gabler before she married, and kind of how she is kind of trapped in this patriarchal society. So it's a society run by men. It's written it's supposed to be set in the early 1900s, where women didn't have the vote, and women were owned by their husbands. Like, their husbands owned them and they couldn't do anything. They were supposed to be there to get married, to have children, and that was pretty much it, to care for the family, and that was pretty much it. So it's really interesting. I thought I was going to struggle a little bit reading it because I'm a big reader, but I've never read a play like this for myself before. I don't think I've ever really done it. We did it a little bit with Much Ado About Nothing when I studied that for GCSE, which is a Shakespearean play, but I'd never read a play that was English and that I'd never really read anything like it and that I could actually understand. And I really read it quite easily, and so much so that I've actually bought another of Ibsen plays and have started reading that and kind of at my own time. And even though it's like there's no paragraphs about how they're feeling, or it's just like, no, it's all dialogue and stage directions, it's still really interesting, and you still a lot is revealed about each character, and I really like this. I definitely recommend it if you're into kind of like the kind of the era, and it's a tragedy, so it ends badly. So yeah, I really like it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you've kind of like felt after it that to give books that you are assigned to read a chance. You know, here's 4 books that I probably would not have picked up off the shelf if I hadn't been told I had to read them. But they're books that I've really enjoyed. I definitely think Lord of the Flies is the beefiest in kind of size and what we had to kind of look at. But then again, The Great Gatsby, there's so much you can write about The Great Gatsby, about F. Scott Fitzgerald, and I'm really excited to be assigned more books and to read more books by some of these authors. So yeah, that's the kind of message of this video. It's a little bit like Lord of the Rings, Lord of the Flies, sorry, has a message that is, you know, so it's kind of like connoting to that. But don't judge a book by its cover, and read it, and you may be pleasantly surprised and may actually enjoy what you have been assigned to read. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and what have you been assigned to read, you know, and did you like any of the books, or did you hate all the books you had to read? So thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you all soon. Bye!